what happens when people are sleep deprived? They wake up and they think, ugh, I hate my life, I hate my wife, I hate my dog, I hate where I live, I hate my job, I want to get divorced, I want to do this. They just feel like, ugh, dreadful. But honestly, they could be just walking around with a very dirty brain. When you've got a dirty brain, you've got all these sticky plaques that build up, just a whole lot of gunk that needs to be cleaned out. And the only way to clean this out is through deep, slow wave sleep. And it's like a bilge pump that goes... So this is a big misconception. People think caffeine gives you energy. It doesn't.
It's just
it
blocking.
Blocks the sleepy signal.
Oh.
It doesn't. So people go, I need to have my coffee to like pump me up. No, it's just masking what is already there. No, well, you can't steal from tomorrow to pay for today and there be no effect. Mother Nature is like the mafia. She always comes back and
collects.
Yeah.
So normally right now on the episode, you'd be expecting to hear the jingle.
But we're interrupting the show as we have something very cool to share with you.
Now, we don't usually script anything, but we could talk all day about this, so bear with us.
On Friday, the 7th of August at 7 p.m, we are launching our first ever Breathe Deep live event.
This is the live version of the YouTube videos that we have been creating over the last few months, where we combine my love for Deep House and Tracy's love for breathwork.
We describe it as a musical journey into an altered state of consciousness.
So it's not a normal breathwork class, it's not a meditation session, it's not a nightclub. I would describe it as kind of a combination of all three of those things, and I think it's unlike anything else that's happening in Perth right now.
This is not our emotional release breathwork. We're not going to take you into trauma processing or deliberately stir up difficult material, but it's more than just a basic breath awareness class too. The conscious connected breathing at the center of the session can genuinely shift your state of consciousness. You may experience sensations, emotions, and experiences that people often describe as profound, unexpected, or deeply peaceful. You'll be guided by me the whole way through.
If you've been curious about breathwork but weren't sure that the emotional release style was right for you, this is the perfect place to start.
It's happening on Friday, 7th of August at 7 p.m. at Lacey's Gym in Joondalup.
We have 40 spots available and we're pretty confident it's going to sell out.
Oh, and if you're a Lacey's member like me, you'll get 50% off your ticket.
Hope to see you there. Welcome everyone to the Reconnect to Self podcast, the show that helps you slow down, take better care of yourself, and ultimately rediscover what brings you joy. My name is Scott. I am your host. I'm also a filmmaker, and as ever, I am here with my wife Tracy, who is a counsellor of 20 years, a qualified breathwork instructor, and certified psychedelic assisted therapist. Hello.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm very well.
I can't think of anything else to say other than I'm excited about.
But you really are excited. You've been talking about our guest for a couple of days now.
Yeah. And when I got sent her book, I was like, yes, I absolutely want to have her on the show. And the added benefit is she's in person.
Yay. Which
So-
is synchronicity. That was perfect.
Yes, that worked out really well. We originally planned to do this online. Right. So Dr Jemma King is a behavioural scientist and sleep researcher who spent years working across stress, performance, and emotional intelligence. She has worked with our Special Forces soldiers, Olympic athletes, and high-level corporate executives. Her new book, Sleep First, which I have right here, breaks down what's actually happening in your brain and body when we sleep. And as someone who has historically been a bad sleeper, I have lots of questions I want to ask. So we're pleased to welcome you to our dining room table. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for welcoming me into your beautiful home and with your beautiful puppy.
Yes.
And he's with us too, yes.
He is
Oxytocin hit.
Yeah, yes. I was thinking of you this morning when I was cuddling him and I was like, because Scott was going to ask you about sleep with dogs in the bed and I was like, I wonder if
that's
it's
one of the
counted by
many
all the
questions.
oxytocin that I get.
Yeah, you're
One
probably
of-
getting more from the puppy than from him.
I think that's true. Yeah.
Really enjoyed reading your book and also listened to a couple of podcasts that you've been on. And the thing that I picked up straight away was sleep wasn't like the first thing you did. You've sort of come into that a little bit.
Yeah.
How did that happen?
I used to say, sleep is for losers. Why would you want to do that? There's so many exciting things you can be doing other than sleeping.
Yes.
And it was very late, actually, that I came to realise that it's the foundation of mental and physical health. And, as you might have read in the book, I am a stress researcher. And so I was looking at all the data and looking at, what really stresses people out and how do we get people to not stress as much or get over burnout. And sleep just kept coming up. And basically there wasn't a person that I met who didn't have a sleep disorder, who didn't eventually succumb into some type of mental health disruption. And there was not one person I met who had a mental health disruption who didn't also have a sleep disorder. And I'm like, there's a huge correlation here.
Yeah.
This needs to be investigated. And then, I started experimenting and seeing people that I work with that, they had a multitude of different factors that were going wrong in their life. And for so many of these people, it was really overwhelming. Like, where do we start when everything's bad? And when you have this, you feel so disenfranchised, like you should be doing this and you should be doing that.
Yeah.
And you just can't do any of it and you reject everything. So I was coming up with the solution. Let's just do one thing. And so I was working out what would be the most efficacious, what would be have the most effect. And I realised that sleep consistency was the one thing that people could do.
And that's one of the things I think people, I don't know if they trip up on, but I'm a bit of a sleep nerd, right? So I've listened to a bunch of stuff about sleep. So I probably know more than the average person. So I'm trying to go back to, well, what were my thoughts around sleep when I didn't know a lot about it? And one of the things straight away that I thought is people think they can bank up sleep. People think they can make up sleep on the weekend, right? So when you're talking about consistency, because I know one of the things is go to bed at the same time, try and wake up at the same time. But I think a lot of people would think, well, I'll just have a lie-in on a Sunday.
That's a really common thought or myth. But
it doesn't really work, does it? Or does it?
No, well, you can't steal from tomorrow to pay for today and there be no effect. Like I say, Mother Nature is like the mafia. She always comes back and
collects.
And it'll be in ways that you don't even know that it's sleep. So maybe you can't lose weight. Maybe you're become intolerant to certain foods. Maybe your heart, health is not as good. You might be slightly diabetic. You may have sleep apnea. There'll be all these little indicators, and you think, oh, it must be this, or I must be getting allergic to that, or I hate this, or you think it's genetics.
I'm just getting old.
Yeah. My mum had this, and then actually, if you sort of look back, the antecedent cause was that you're not giving your body time to replenish and giving your body the space, the time, the resources to do what it naturally does. I think the body has an amazing healing mechanism, like more than we can possibly imagine, but it needs those necessary preconditions to be able to do what it can do.
Designed to
and
do,
that's sleep. And so I also say you can't biohack your way out of sleep deprivation any way than you can biohack your way out of needing oxygen.
Yeah.
It's that fundamental.
I feel like ever since I've gotten older and not that I drink very much, but the times when I might have gone out and had a few drinks and then gone to bed late, it'll be the late night that's gotten me. Like I'll go to bed pretty sober, like I'll sort of sober up before bed, but it will be that crappy night's sleep. It'll be the next day and the day after. And I'm like, I just feel rubbish. I just feel groggy the next day.
That's not just the late night though, I don't think. I think I thought that's what I believed for a long time because I've quit alcohol 9 months ago.
Oh, congratulations.
Thank you. It's been a bit of a journey.
It's due to health.
Jealousy.
It's not
I had to do it. I didn't want to do it. I have a health thing and it just makes my life better to not drink. But jealousy is the big thing that I struggle with. If we go out, I'm just jealous of people drinking.
I totally understand.
Poor love.
But I didn't realise until I quit drinking, like even if because as I was on my journey to quit drinking, I was just cutting down.
Yeah.
And so maybe you have 1 or 2 glasses of wine and you think, it's only 1 or 2 glasses of wine. But then you start to realise, that had a massive impact on my sleep. And I never really connected those dots. And I think people do go, it was just the late night. But it's alcohol's playing a massive part.
Terrible. I'm really sad to say because I love red wine. I still drink it because I know how to
counter it a little bit.
But alcohol is really poisonous. The metabolic byproducts of alcohol breakdown is toxic to your body, and so your body will prioritise dealing with that before going on to any of the other sleep architecture stages. And so it really pushes off your REM sleep more than anything. And then your body will be doing all the alcohol clearing, and it won't be doing all of the healing and the replenishing and all of the other like basic maintenance tasks that it should be doing.
I think people don't realise that. Like I saw something on like on social media once where it showed at each time of the night what your body is doing, what process it should be kind of in if you're in, you know, in the right processes. And I was fascinated, and I thought, I wonder if people knew that, because I have heaps of clients as well that kind of like, oh yeah, I get by on 4 hours sleep or 5 hours sleep or whatever, and they're just acting like that's fine. But if they knew what stages they're missing out on by not being asleep for as long.
And you can correlate that to your behaviour and your moods and memory, because, you know, like certain stages of your sleep architecture, as you said, you know, fear processing, fear conditioning, you know, growth, sex hormones, blood sugar, you know, blood sugar regulating hormones. So there is a lot of, I suppose, misunderstandings. People think you go down to sleep and then you just wake up, but it's a very...
Why don't you take us through? Because there is the is it architecture? Is that the word you use?
You can.
Or like the different stages, basically, of what's happening.
Yeah. So just to go back to your clients, some of them might have the DEC2 gene.
Oh, and what's
that? That is the short sleeper gene. So basically, these people, it's like winning the genetic lotto. If you have this, it's like really amazing, because you only need 4 to 5 hours of sleep a night, and you don't have any physiological decrements. You have no consequences.
Oh, wow.
It's genetic. It's very rare. I think it's like 1 in 400,000. And there's an overrepresentation of people in politics, generals, people who are entrepreneurs, people who, you know, CEOs, because they can stay up all night reading.
Using all that time,
Yeah, apparently it's quite lonely. But there's, you know, the current Prime Minister of Japan, she has it. Apparently Modi, the Indian Prime Minister, also is a short sleeper, but Margaret Thatcher, Winston Churchill, so, you know, a lot of the big inventors, they all had this short sleeper gene.
Wow.
And, I mean, I would love to have it, but unfortunately I have to be like every other human and have to sleep 7.5 hours. Yeah. So I'll just take you through what happens when you go to sleep. So there's 4 stages, you know, start up the top, alpha, sort of, you know, that light sleepy stage where you sort of feel conscious but, you know, relaxed, and your brain waves actually do change. And then this is often when you can have insights and, you know, you can have, you know, sort of reality gets a little distorted. It's quite a nice stage. Yeah. But some people, if they have high levels of anxiety, kind of hang in that area a bit too long. But it could be, depending on, you know, who you are, 5 to 10 to 20 minutes kind of normal. Then that's called non-REM sleep, N1. Then there's N2, which is slightly deeper. But this is when you see these little like weird sort of blips. If you had an ECG, like a brain measurer, you see these little weird blips called spindles and K complexes. So they're like kind of like the brain's bodyguards, stopping the noises, external noises, from waking you up. So these, the bounce will go, was that, you know, a car door closing? Was that something I needed to wake you up, or can you just go down to sleep? They also think that these little blip spindles are actually your brain learning how to do physical skills. So people who play the piano or play the guitar have a lot more of these spindles. And you see in dementia, when you age, they call it spindle dwindle, and you see less of these, and so they think it's, you know, implicated in memory consolidation of certain types of memories. So you know, the more the physical memories. Then you go down into deep slow wave sleep. Like this is I like to call your body's own wellness retreat. So this is when all the good stuff happens. And if anyone listening, if they can only remember one thing, I think this is it. This is the one thing you should remember. This is one of the most important, you know, parts of your sleep architecture. So it's usually deep slow wave sleep happens in the first 2 sleep cycles, the most of it. So the first 2 hours before midnight. And this is when all of your growth hormone gets produced, or like 70 to 80% of your growth hormone.
Oh my God.
So you get this massive hit. There's this window of opportunity. And so many people will push their sleep back. They actually miss this opportunity to get all your cells just awash with this human growth hormone.
Wow.
Now, people think, oh, isn't that just for kids so their legs grow? But no, it's super important in pretty much every metabolic process
So it's
in your
before
body.
midnight though.
Yeah, most of it
All
comes
my
out.
ADHD clients are.
Yeah, so if you,
Wow.
so research shows that if you miss that window, you will make up over time the same amount, but it won't have that magnitude in those first
Wow.
2 sleep cycles, which is important. So that's what I think why shift workers die on average about 15 years earlier.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I did not know that.
Yeah. And so I'll use the analogy. So imagine you've got a football stadium and you get a crew of 100 workers that come in and they know what they have to do. They have to fix the seats. They have to clean up. They have to make sure that the stairs are working and the banisters are working, all these things. And they're under lights and they've got 2 hours to do it in, say.
Yep.
And there's 100 guys running around. There's no one in there. There's no one playing football at that time.
Yep.
So it's pretty efficient and you've got 100 man hours in that time very efficiently.
Yep.
Now, if you, for whatever reason, decide, no, we're going to play a football game at that time and we're going to let everybody in. The workers have got to sort of move around. People are eating and throwing dirt on the ground and it's hard to get to the seats and there's all these other things that are going on while you're trying to repair. And you might get 100 man hours, but it'll be in groups of 10. They'll be like, all over the place.
Not
so
as efficient.
Inefficient.
Yeah.
And these guys will be stressed.
Yeah.
And so it is like an emergency situation where, okay, they'll work hard to get the job done, but there's only so long they can be working like this with people running around them and, extra rubbish getting thrown and just not being able to have their lunch breaks or whatever.
Yeah.
And so this is what happens inside your brain and your body when you miss that window. Mm-hmm. And so deep, slow wave sleep is incredibly important. It's when, you process all of your hormones. It's when you regulate your ghrelin and leptin. So ghrelin is the hormone that makes you hungry. Leptin is the hormone that is the satiation hormone that makes you stop feeling hungry. So that gets completely dysregulated. When you miss that sleep the next day, your ghrelin goes up. So you get hungry, you crave salty, fatty, sugary foods because your brain's like, hang on a minute, you're depleted, you're under-resourced. We need to get in some calories on board very quickly.
Yeah.
So you go for those high-density calorific.
Is that what's happening with a hangover? You know how you want Hungry Jacks after a
Yeah,
hangover?
there's a couple of things happening with that. Your gut biome has been dysregulated, and when you drink alcohol that's got lots of sugar, lots of yeast in it, like beers or cocktails that are sweet, you will proliferate the propagation of certain gut biome that will send out bioidentical hormones, like the hungry hormones, and they'll be looking for more sugars, and it can actually wake you up, or you wake up in the morning with a screaming, hungry, I've got to get something in my stomach now. And also, it's been hard on your body trying to get rid of the poisons. Your vitamin B's been depleted. So, there's a multitude of things going on there, but that's a false hunger because it's like you've got a fermentation vat in your stomach with the yeast and it's warm and it's sugars and it's just the auto brewery effect, I call it.
Wow.
And those sort of like these chemicals that the gut biome produces can make you feel like awful, down, woozy, like foggy headed. And then if you don't feed them, they die off and they produce certain chemicals that make you feel terrible.
Gosh.
So yes, I mean, I know this, so I'm very careful about what I drink. I don't have any sugary drinks, and if I do, I have raw garlic before I go to bed, which kills them.
Really?
Yeah.
That's a little tip for everybody.
We're going to Bali next week.
Oh yes. So every time I go overseas and I go to any Southeast Asian country or India or anywhere where the water supply is not so good or the street food's not so good, I will preload all the family, but I get raw organic garlic and I cut it up into little chunks and I leave it out to oxidize, and it produces something called diallyl dioxide, which is diallyl disulfide, and it's an antimicrobial product. So you go, just drink it. You don't swallow it, chew it.
Yeah.
And what it does, it just sort of it lays down a antimicrobial mat, and so any food that goes down there is already getting like if there's bad microbes in there, they get killed.
Oh, this is
And
amazing.
so we eat the dirtiest street food wherever we go. Like, it's delicious and it's amazing, but we never get sick.
Wow.
And if ever the kids feel like a bit grumbly, I'll just, whack down some more garlic, and it is brilliant.
We're taking garlic to Bali.
Yes.
Do you just have to do it before we leave, or should we take some with us?
So I always carry it with me into country. And because sometimes when you get there, you don't know if there's any markets open. But if I don't have it, if you can't bring in like food from another country, I get my taxi driver to go straight to a market and I buy it and I keep it with me. And I have one in my bag. So if I'm out and I'm like, well, that food looks a bit dodgy, I'll just and you've got to oxidize it.
Yeah.
And then, but it works like a treat. So I was spending a fair amount of time working in India and nothing. And then I was running to the airport and didn't have garlic because I was coming back to Australia. And I had a doser at the airport, and I was in a fever dream, violently ill for 3 days when I got home because I didn't have
Just
the
shows
garlic.
how effective the garlic is.
Yeah.
Oh, I
yeah.
love
That's a great tip.
But honestly, it is phenomenal. And I would tell that to the Olympians when they were going overseas, because a lot of it they'd get sick. But also real raspberry juice. So, blend up frozen raspberries. There's some antimicrobial properties in raspberries as well.
Is that where the red cordial thing in Bali? Have you heard of that one? Take red cordial to Bali.
Oh, maybe. Yeah,
We used to do it when the
kids.
kids
Yeah,
were
we did
little.
red
Yeah,
cordial.
manuka honey and raspberries. Yeah, but it's got to be at least 25% real raspberries.
Gosh. Oh, I love that tip though.
So going back, what were we talking about? Deep cell wave sleep.
Well, I did want to pick up on one thing because I'd heard the make sure you go to bed before midnight thing. The thing that always confused me is, let's say I'm doing 10 p.m. to 6 a.m.
Yeah.
Is that better than midnight to 8 a.m.? So still
100%, yeah.
Well, that's the part I can't get my head around. Is it to do with the sun and the moon and the...
Yeah. So we have a suprachiasmatic nucleus in our brain, which is our timekeeper. It's a little... So imagine if you had like a chopstick and you go and rammed into the roof of your mouth up there. Yeah. That's where it lies. If you poked a hole...
Yeah.
There's this little tiny, it's like the size of a grain of rice, and that is our timekeeper, and it's very, very sensitive. Well, it just runs on day-night signals through our retina. And because, for the better part of human existence, for 250,000 years of Homo sapiens, we've always lived by the sun. And you think like human evolution, and you think about, that was like 11 hours and 50-something minutes. We lived like that. And this life, with these lights, all the things that we're exposed to now, is equivalent of a 4-second blip. This is not enough time for all of our neural architecture, all of the timekeepers in our every cell to catch up to this crazy existence that we're forcing our cells and biology into. And so that is why even, we're so resistant to being okay with going to bed late. Because, human ancestors would never do that. It was too expensive to keep fires going, and it was like hard, and, we just didn't live like that.
Yeah.
I mean, so you would have a fire, you'd sort of, sit around the fire, you'd go to sleep relatively soon after the sun went down. Then in some cases, we're not sure if it's universal, but you'd wake up, and then adults would, write, read, whittle sticks, knit, have sex, talk, pray, whatever.
In the middle, I read this yesterday, in the middle of the night, right?
Yeah, and then have a second sleep.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so us sleeping a solid night through is kind of unusual for some people believe. I mean, some people, they think there's maybe not true. Like there's sentinel sleeping. So if you're a hunter-gatherer, you would have at least 30% of the tribe awake on watch, and you kind of do shifts as well. So there's been a range of different sleeping, habits, but typically we'd go to sleep early.
Yeah.
We wouldn't be staying up.
Yeah.
And I always say, don't sleep with Alan. So Alan is artificial light at night. Alan is not your friend. He's not good.
No,
We do know an Alan.
Don't sleep with Alan.
Yeah. Oh, that's a great analogy. Like, way to say that and to remember that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So a lot of people, this is what you said is so common. People would say, well, I'm getting 8 hours sleep. I just push it all back. Doesn't matter. I feel great. Your cells don't. And that, there will be a consequence.
Wow. Yeah.
So what should
Should we just go into REM then?
Yeah, going to REM.
Yeah. So just going back to deep slow wave sleep, it's like, you've got these big rolling kind of brain waves. And what is also essential during this time is the lymphatic cleaning process. Now, throughout the day, your brain is using energy, and it if you don't remember from year 8 biology, your brain runs on something called adenosine triphosphate, ATP.
Oh, I've heard of it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so there has a little explosion in your head, the phosphate comes off and there's this bond explodes. And what is left over is residue, sort of cellular sort of exhaust. Mm-hmm. And this is called adenosine. And so adenosine builds up all throughout the day, and it's kind of like Mother Nature's dimmer switch or sleepy potion. It's sort of that stuff that makes you feel sort of tired and and that builds up. And what we know is it is blocked by caffeine. So caffeine will sit on the adenosine receptor, and so it sort of blocks the adenosine, making you sleepy. So this is a big misconception. People think caffeine gives you energy. It doesn't.
It's just
It
blocking.
blocks the sleepy signal.
Oh.
It doesn't. So we go, I need to have my coffee to like pump me up. No, it's just masking what is already there. And so what happens?
People need to hear that. That's a double click on that kind of point. That's
caffeine
amazing.
does not give you
Oh.
energy. It just stops you from feeling the tiredness that is there.
Wow.
That doesn't go away. It doesn't get rid of it.
Yeah.
So what happens is throughout the day you're sort of feeling sleepy, and there's only one way to get rid of adenosine, and that is that deep slow wave sleep part of your sleep. And so often we don't get it. We just and I'll talk about all the reasons why we don't get down into deep slow wave sleep. But the thing is, people don't realize is adenosine can give you an impending sense of doom.
I know that feeling.
You know that all of us have had this situation. And when people go, just sleep on it, it's a really good idea, because that's the only way you get rid of that adenosine. And adenosine makes you feel overwhelmed and like, everything's like you feel like some really bad thing's about to, this kind of ominous feeling.
Yeah.
And we know this is because adenosine is used as a heart medication for tachycardia. And when doctors have to administer this, they say to the patient, don't worry, you're not going to die. It's this
to reassure them.
adenosine.
Yeah.
Because people go,
They think it's their instincts or their intuition thinking something bad's going to happen, when really it's just that
it's
chemical.
the drug.
Yeah.
And so what happens when people are sleep deprived, they wake up and they think, ugh, I hate my life, I hate my wife, I hate my dog, I hate where I live, I hate my job, I want to get divorced, I want to do this. They just feel like, dreadful.
Yeah.
And, because they want to post-rush, they want to think about, I feel bad, it must be because of you or
They're looking outside of themselves.
But
yeah.
honestly, they could be just walking around with a very dirty brain, and they haven't cleaned their brain or haven't replenished that, energy. So people will think, it must be, all of these things, but you're just walking around with a very dirty brain.
When you say dirty brain, that's right. What's making it dirty?
Yeah, so what happens is when you've got a dirty brain, you've got all these beta amyloids, tau, all these sticky plaques that build up. They're like proteins and just a whole lot of gunk in your brain that needs to be cleaned out. And the only way to clean this out is through deep slow wave sleep. And one of it was more recent discoveries in science was the lymphatic cleaning process. And this is amazing. This is basically like during deep slow wave sleep, your cells will squidge back. So you've got 60% more space in your intercellular interstitial fluid. And this is where your cerebral spinal fluid just pushes and pulses. And what happens is every about 50 minutes, you've got this minor pulsatile squirt of adrenaline, and it's like a bilge pump that goes and just pumps all the gunk out of your brain. It kind of drains out, and then it comes out in your urine. So kind of imagine if you had an alleyway that was all dirty and you had cars going up and down it, and then you said to everyone, okay, park to the side and we're going to bring a gurney through, or like a street cleaner.
Yeah.
So that's what happens during the night. And you miss that opportunity to clean your brain when you don't get into deep, slow wave sleep. And so you wake up and you've got a gunky, sort of grindy, sticky brain, but also just going back to that adenosine. So you've got ATP, adenosine triphosphate, that goes to diphosphate, goes to monophosphate, goes to adenosine, right? So there's this sort of chemical process in your brain. Now you need to get that adenosine to go back to ATP. Oh. So it's like this recycling process in your brain. And if you miss that deep, slow wave sleep, you just don't get the same brain energy replenished. It's like alchemy. It's like, it's like a magic store.
Wow.
And so there's so many things that stop us from going and cleaning our brains during the night. And so we see that there's a very strong correlation to sleep deprivation and dementia. Very strong. And what we're seeing is there's a huge rise in early onset adult dementia. Like there's about 3.5 million people who are like 35 in the world with dementia, like proper dementia. And they think it's a very strong correlation to the fact that we're not getting that 2 hours before bed. And, a lot of substance use and also there's a strong correlation between sleeping tablets and dementia.
I wanted to ask about sleeping tablets.
Yeah, like I, if you need them, sure, but I would be really reluctant to be taking them every day. And you need to have a washout period, like a literal, like you need to wash your brain, because sleeping tablets, like alcohol, it sedates you, and you don't go through that cleaning process. You don't get those big rolling delta waves that help with the brain clean, and the pulsatile secretions that goes like the bilge pump. And so we have all these, second and third order effects from not having that segment of sleep.
Gosh.
So is that, because I always remember people saying, or it might have been my mum even,
1 hour before.
when you're drunk and then you're in bed for 12 hours, you're not getting 12 hours of sleep.
No.
You're essentially passed out, and what you're saying is none of the
Sedation.
processes that should be happening during a deep sleep are actually happening. And the same thing with sleeping pills.
Yeah, like when you're drunk, you've probably had a dirty kebab as well. So your body's trying to deal with all that, alcohol and whatever else you've done to yourself that night. Mm-hmm. And that is not, it shelves all the housekeeping stuff and all the important,
that makes total sense.
normal stuff you should be doing. And so there is an effect. And then you push off your REM sleep. Now, REM sleep is really, really important as well.
So this happens towards the end of the night, the REM sleep?
So you're thinking, around, 2 a.m. is when you get your most REM. And this is like where people often get this 2 or 3 a.m. waking. So REM sleep is rapid eye movement, and it's this really unusual state where your brain looks like it's awake, if under an ECG. And you have your body gets sedated, in terms of, we call it sleep inertia. So all your skeletal muscles are paralysed, and the only muscles that still work are your eyeballs and your diaphragm and the muscles that give you an erection.
Oh.
We don't know why. But yes, it's the one part of the body that still works, even though the rest of your body, and I think I talk about in the book, there's some terrible, terrible cases of people doing terrible things in their sleep because they didn't realise what they were doing.
Oh my goodness.
Bad things. But during REM sleep, there is, what we call is the emotional reasoning. It's your fear conditioning, and there's a really strong forgetting component. So there's all this stuff that happens throughout the day that you don't really need to remember. But I use the analogy of a midnight librarian. So just imagine there's, your personal librarian with a bench, and in comes all these folders. And you look at these folders and he or she says, oh, that's interesting. That goes in that box.
What a great way to explain that.
Chuck that one out.
Yeah.
And if you don't do that because you've pushed off your REM sleep because you went to sleep later or you had alcohol or whatever, so these kind of folders pile up on your internal memory bench, and it can make you feel scatty, can make you feel anxious.
Wow.
And what we see is if you keep missing REM sleep, your conditioning of fear changes. So just imagine, like, we're all scared of snakes naturally. There's an innate human fear of anything that looks like a snake, and you're like, ugh.
Yep.
And when you see a snake,
Tracy went through a stage where you couldn't see a snake on TV.
Or in a book.
wow,
I would just drop the book.
You've recovered from that.
Wow.
Yeah, I can see it now. I don't want to be around it.
Could have been a REM disorder.
Ah.
So what we see is that during REM sleep, your body will replay things that really upset you and make you feel stressed out. And it's like you're replaying the movie to try and habituate yourself to that imagery without the fear response. So you're remembering and forgetting at the same time. You're forgetting the fear element, and your brain's like, don't worry, you're still alive. That's not something to be scared of.
Yeah.
And it sort of recalibrates what you consider frightening and what you don't. So if you miss your REM sleep until you had a near snake experience, it was actually a hose, and your brain comes over a garden hose, and your brain says, oh, no, that was just a garden hose. So anything that looks similar to a snake, be very, have granularity between snake, garden hose. If you don't do that, you start getting scared of sticks.
This is why with EMDR that they link it to the REM part of your sleep, because you're processing whatever the trauma is that we're working on, because your REM part of your sleep was interrupted or something happened in the way that you process that.
Yes.
So I find that fascinating how you're describing this REM sleep.
So your fear conditioning gets out of whack, and then you become scared of shadows, and then because they've got this global expansion of your fears. And we think that, it could be an element of PTSD is the fact that you wake up during REM from a scary dream, and the midnight librarian never gets to process properly that and put it into don't worry box.
Yes.
It stays on the bench in the heightened alert
and that's why
box.
people get triggered.
Yeah. So, and things like, and what do people do when they've got PTSD? They usually use substances, drink, which is the worst thing you can do because it pushes off your REM sleep, and then or you're getting sedated and you're not really having those. Yeah, it's like literally the worst thing you can do.
Oh gosh, all the people that are self-medicating through substances, and then
you think that it is helping you get to sleep, but it is actually contributing to it. And so what we see often is the midnight librarian will sometimes come across a folder and goes, oh my God, this needs executive direction, and will wake up the boss and say, hey, what do I do with this one? And so this is why people are getting this 3 a.m. waking, because there's unresolved emotional issues that the midnight librarian needs some help with.
Wow.
So
great analogy. I love it.
Yeah. My antidote is like, you just help out the librarian before you go to bed, brain dump, do a name to tame session, but also put a time next to it. So you say, okay, these are all the things that are worrying me, and you categorize it, and you say, I will deal with it tomorrow in my worry hour. And then at 11 o'clock, I'll call, my psychologist, or I'll call the accountant, or whatever it is.
Whatever the plan is,
But it's really important, because the time then makes the midnight librarian think, okay, yeah, they're serious. They're going to deal with this tomorrow, and it's not going to be left up to me. So the more you can help your librarian, the better.
I agree with that, because I say that to my clients about you, like if they're grieving or they're going through a breakup or whatever it might be, and they're really trying to not have that drag through their whole day. I'll say, give yourself a time in the morning where you can really think about it, cry about it, get it all out, and then do the same thing for in the evening, or if
not
you need
too close to bed.
No. Before you've even started your bedtime routine, you could do it in the late afternoon. But it's more about you're telling your body that's when I'm going to deal with it. Because if you don't, it'll just keep poking through and interrupting your thoughts. But it'll believe you if you honour what you've told kind of your brain, that we're going to do it over here. So we'll give that break now, and we'll do it over here. So I agree with that. That's a great technique.
Yeah. I mean, your brain's just trying to keep you alive, really. And it has a really hard time differentiating what is like, a mortal danger, or what's just humiliating, or what's, heartbreaking.
Yeah, because nowadays we don't have those same life and death situations like we used to. Yeah. So anytime we're feeling uncomfortable, people are getting these responses and feeling like I can't handle that. But really they can. It's just that, it's uncomfortable, it's embarrassing, or it's... Yeah.
You think about our ancestors were always a little bit hungry, always tired, always in danger.
Yeah.
And now we've just like...
Too comfortable.
Yeah, and we medicate. Your kid goes, oh, mummy, my head hurts. Have a Panadol. Or, you're not meant to feel like that. No, we've got to feel it. We need the contrast.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
We need to have bad so we know what good is.
Yes. And also I've heard even with, again, sedating people, or if they give painkillers, you now don't know when you should stop on that that wound or that ligament or that whatever. Like if you're numb to that, you're going to keep pushing it because you don't feel it. But if you actually had that bit of pain there, you'll go to the level that, is uncomfortable and then you'll stop and let it heal. So numbing things out, blocking things out, it's not helpful.
Signals.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask about what are the things we can do to give ourselves the best chance of a good night's sleep. So one of the things we're quite proud of this, and this is not an ad in any way, but before we went to Bali last year, when we went to Bali, the bed was amazing, right? So I was sleeping so well. And then we didn't
realize how bad it was until we
came home and Tracy moves quite a lot in her sleep. And I think...
And I have a body pillow, so I move the whole body pillow with me.
So when she rolls over, the whole bed would and I was in an earthquake as a teenager. I was in Los Angeles and was in an earthquake.
Really?
So I probably have some deep-seated memories of being woken up in the middle of the night with the bed shaking. So I had been a bad sleeper for quite a long time, and I think part of it, and it wasn't your fault, but our bed was so shit and it would move and I would just wake up. Whether I remembered waking up or not, it was waking up. So when we got back from Bali, something triggered in my head to go, it's the fucking bed. And so I went and slept in the front room.
You wouldn't sleep in the bed with me anymore.
You were having a sleep divorce.
Yeah. We've done that before with the babies.
With the intention that I would do some research and pick a good bed. So we ended up with, and again, not an ad, but a sleeping duck. And oh my God.
So much better. Oh my gosh, yeah.
So good. It's the best. And it wasn't in the scheme of how much mattresses and beds cost.
Oh, you think of how much you spend sitting in your car. It's a fraction of what and people go, I want a really nice, comfortable car. Yeah. You spend a lot more time in bed. 100%. And it has a lot, almost more importance.
Yes. So I'm embarrassed we spent 15 years.
No, we changed our mattress a few times.
That was early. No, once. And it was early. And I remember thinking, am I with a woman who because I was a single guy, had no idea that mattresses were expensive. I just thought it'd be a couple of $100.
Oh, no. He thinks that with everything.
I was an idiot back then. I did not have any...
He had student mentality.
Yeah. So I remember being in the mattress shop. I can't believe we're spending this much money on a mattress. Expensive. And I've always been grateful that we've never had to buy another one. And I've never brought it up. If you got a microscope
and looked what was living in your mattress, you might have thought...
Oh, yeah.
Well, actually, Tommy still has
the mattress. The bugs are just... horrific, yeah.
So anyway, my point is, since getting a new bed, my sleeping has improved. So quitting alcohol, getting a new bed, highly recommend it for people. Get a better mattress. But what else can we do? Because I know there's things like phones, checking your phone. Should the phone be in the room? Yeah. What should be happening with your lights? What can we do to improve our chances of a good night's sleep?
So just before I will go through the whole day. So what you should do the minute you start when you wake up, and then what you should do throughout the day.
Perfect.
But before I do that, I want to talk about my mattress experience.
Good.
I was on stage at South by Southwest and was talking with one of the athletes, Shana Jack, who I worked with, and the guy who owns this company called 8 Sleep. And that's when the woman came up and said to me, "You've got to write a book from Wiley." So this was a really significant day for me because not only did I get a book deal, but I got a free 8 Sleep mattress.
Nice. Oh my God.
And they're not paying me or anything, but I honestly would, if I had to, I would pay a lot of money for this thing. Yeah. So basically the 8 Sleep is like a mattress topper, and it's got vesicles of water that sort of, have you heard of it?
Never.
I think I've heard a lot of podcast ads. Is this the one that changes temperature or reacts to temperature?
Yeah. So like what you're saying, that it differentially heats or cools according to your body and what stage of sleep you're in. So my partner runs hot and I run cold. And so there's always this, fight over the doona or the temperature. So what it does, it learns your body, and then before you get into bed, so if it's cold outside, you get into bed and it's all warm and snuggly to the temperature you like. Yeah. And because you need to drop your temperature by 1 to 2 degrees to get into deep slow wave sleep, it'll gradually just bring your temperature down. And throughout the night, it does micro adjustments. So if you get overheated, if your blanket's too hot or whatever, or if you've been drinking and you get overheated, so it's a great hangover cure. If you've got menopause,
I was thinking of menopause and people.
It's got a hot flush thing, so you can actually say, "Look, I'm going through peri or menopause," and if it detects a hot flash, and it'll cool you dramatically, so you actually don't get woken up by it.
Oh wow!
I haven't tried it, but. It is amazing. And then if you snore, it'll go bzz, bzz, and it'll just sort of like, there's a really expensive version where it just lifts your head slightly. I haven't got that one.
Wow.
And I love this thing. So honestly, like it is, I mean, I travel so much. If I could, I'd take it, but it's kind of got like a unit. But it has been the most incredible sleep aid I've ever had. And it also tracks your heart rate variability, your respiration rate, your microarousals, all your sleep stages, like everything.
So is it something
How
you
high-tech
lay
is
on
that?
top of a mattress? Is that what it is?
It's like a topper.
Right.
That's incredible.
Yeah. I honestly, like it's expensive though.
Yeah.
But if you can afford it, but like the amount of time you spend in bed and the amount of efficiencies that you gain throughout your day by having a good, decent sleep, you'll make up for. I honestly believe if you're a knowledge worker or a cognitive athlete, you will make it up, whatever you...
Yeah, and think about what people waste money on anyway. Like, this is something that's so important.
Yeah, especially for women. If you're if you're not sleeping because you've got hormonal fluctuations, I think it's incredible. But so just going back, so how do you get a good night's sleep? Well, I think LeBron James said a good night's sleep starts the minute you wake up. Like he's an absolute gonk monster. I think he sleeps like 10, 12 hours a day, which grown-ups should not do. And I'll tell you why. But... So when you wake up, I think we've all heard this, you should try to get, well, first of all, who here reaches for their phone straight away?
No, I do not.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, that's good that you don't do that. You do, yeah? I do too, actually, yeah.
Yeah, I don't scroll necessarily. There's just... I like to check like how many people watch my DJ videos on YouTube. Like I have a YouTube channel for my DJ. I like to check that. I don't just sit there and scroll. That's one thing I don't do, but I do reach for the phone.
Yeah. So if you do that, so cortisol, the main stress hormone, gets the highest production about 30 to 40 minutes post waking.
Oh.
Yeah. So if you reach for your phone first thing in the morning, you have no idea of the rage-baiting, provocative shit that you're going to be shown, like wars, like maybe someone says a bad comment or like you don't know you've got some bad news on your phone. You've no control. And your cortisol can go bim, like straight up.
I do actually have a memory. So I used to check my email.
Yeah.
My work email. Now that my life, I've crafted this life where nobody emails me, so it's not a problem.
I'll email you.
But
Get out
I used
of bed.
to have,
Yeah. Stop taking your phone.
I used to have clients, and this actually ties in with something else. This is when our youngest was just born, so I was sleeping in the spare room. Which is another thing I wanted to bring up at some point in this conversation is what to do when you have a newborn. Our philosophy was, I'm still working full time. I'm going to go sleep in the other room. But anyway, I have vivid memory waking up, checking my email, had this horrendous email from a client having a go at me. And I remember thinking, oh my God, what a way to start my day. Like this anxiety had flushed through my body like within seconds of waking up.
It really dysregulates the natural cortisol flow. It's really bad for you. And it colours the way you see every other interaction going forward. So, I mean, you might see good things, but you might not. You've got no control. So I really recommend, if you can, delay looking at your phone until, at least 40 minutes. And so if you can, lie there. We know gratitude is incredible. Just even like, thank you for the fact I've got clean sheets. Thank you for the fact I'm looking at a roof over my head. Thank you that I
do that with Lenny. I'm always snuggling Lenny, and I'm so grateful for him I literally start my day like that because my friend told me years ago to do that. So before I've even opened my eyes, it's all gratitude, bringing love into my heart, just trying to start with that energy.
Making a kiss. I can hear the kissing sounds, kissing his head.
Because he'll have his head in my hand and then I'm spooned into him. And I'm like, this is just magic. Like
Are you worming yourself regularly?
Put that on the list.
We'll add that in with the garlic.
Yeah. No, I think that, I used to think, it's all woo-woo, but, from cortisol research, 100% works.
Yeah.
And, you're getting oxytocin. Now, oxytocin is one of the greatest cortisol antidotes. Like, if you feel really stressed out, just reach for a cuddle, a kiss, a hug, pat a dog, even look at baby goat videos online.
I do all those things.
Do anything to get that oxytocin up. It's anti-anxiety, it's antidepressive, increases your pain tolerance, increases your generosity. Increases your emotional intelligence. People are more generous to you. Like
Yeah.
it is, like, it's wound healing. It increases your immune system. Like oxytocin is the most amazing hormone.
Can you tell, I listened to your podcast with Mark Burris, and you talked about when you were doing your research for your stress and some of the things that you could do to get your oxytocin that turned into a joke with the guys.
Yes.
I think that's a good antidote.
So because I was at the Special Forces and we were doing all these experiments trying to reduce their cortisol before some pretty scary stuff. And I was researching like what's the quickest way to get it up. And it was, the normal stuff like sex and having a baby or breastfeeding. I'm like, these guys aren't going to do that. Yeah. And then I came across this research paper saying the best way is nipple stimulation. So actually like squeezing your own. And I told the guys this, and it always just became this massive joke. So anytime they were about to jump off something or, parachuting or, anything stressful, they'd come and go, and they'd be squeezing each other's nipples and tweaking them.
That's so funny.
And then, I went and worked with the Olympic swim team, and I was like, no, we can't do that with it. For a start, they've got no boobs.
Do you know, I've just had a memory, and I can't believe I'm going to say this.
Oh, God.
Okay.
There have been many times where I've been asleep and woken up with both hands on my nipples.
Yeah.
So it must be like a self-soothing thing?
Yeah, I can see it now. Like I'll see people who are public speaking and they'll be like just rubbing their nipple and they won't even know they're doing it.
Oh, wow.
It is a self-soothing thing.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. And with the genitals, only people put their hands down their pants and kind of hold themselves, especially boys. They always hold themselves.
But I think it was always towards
thing,
just as I was waking up. So it was kind of towards the end of the night. Like I've done it hundreds of times, I reckon. And I've never made... I've never heard the nipple tweaking stories.
Wow.
You're just like, oxytocin hacking yourself.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah. I mean, it's a safe way of doing it.
I'll cuddle the dog.
It really works.
Yeah.
So if you can, try to get oxytocin to start the day, gratitude. Then when you get up, you should try to get light exposure into your eyeballs, and I think we all know that we've heard this a lot, that when you get photon exposure into your retinas, it sends a message into your circadian rhythm, or that central timekeeper, about when to get up. So you'll get the natural production of your go-go hormones, so your adrenaline and cortisol, which is good. You need it. People are a bit like, I don't like cortisol, it's bad. No, if you don't have cortisol, you literally can't get out of bed. You can see these people have got this like flattened cortisol awakening curve, and it's like, it's not good. So try to get light exposure into your eyeballs, and preferably not behind glass, at least 10 minutes. You can get on your phone and download the Lux meter, and it's a free app, and you can hold it up, and you want about 10,000 lux minimum, which is, you just see it on your phone.
Yeah.
And not so, you hurt your eyeballs, but just to get that. And what it does, it will also signal to your brain when you should get natural sleep pressure, which will be 16 hours after your first exposure. And so I'll talk about the importance of going with that natural sleep pressure later. But when you're throughout the day, there's a whole lot of things that you want your cortisol up. So when your cortisol is up 40 minutes post waking, that's when you do the hard stuff. Like you do the hard phone call, you do the hard charging, things that you've been like avoiding, and you often will go, I'll do it later, but you actually should do it when your biochemistry is at its most abundant for hard things. Yeah. And then, so this is when you could be like engaging in your worry hour, like writing down all the things and, planning them, doing the hard things.
Is that what people say about journaling in the mornings or doing things like that? Or would it be better for harder things?
I think it's just having a attack list is probably good in the morning.
Yeah.
I was talking about protein. So did you hear that study about those, they gave couples voodoo dolls?
No.
And pins? So they gave 300 couples like a little doll and a tin of pins, and they put those continuous glucose monitors on their arm. Go blip blip, and you kind of check where your blood sugar level is. Yeah. And they said every time your partner pisses you off, I want you to jam the voodoo doll with a pin. And then after 6 weeks, they correlated how many pins were in this doll, and then they looked at their blood sugar regulating sort of levels. And they saw there was a very strong correlation between blood sugar fluctuation and aggressive, irritated behaviour. And so the lesson from what I'm telling you this is for if you can try and have regular blood sugar, not these like highs and lows. So every time you have sugar or simple carbohydrates, you'll produce insulin that'll then pull the sugar out of your blood, and you get this kind of refractory period where you actually have low blood sugar. You know, the blood sugar crash.
Yes.
And that's when you produce cortisol. So you know that hangry feeling or that kind of like irritable, like sugar fluctuation feeling.
Yeah.
So that is, very strongly correlated with aggressiveness or irritability. And so this is why I say wake up and have like good protein for breakfast, and try not have, Fruit Loops or anything sugary. And you'll have like really sort of emotional regulated day.
Yeah.
And of course, hydrate. If you want to do a really hard workout, I really recommend you do it before lunchtime, because if in the 4 hours before bed, if you do any exercise that's 50% above your maximum perceived output, like high intensity HIIT, boxing, whatever, it raises your cortisol and your blood pressure and your temperature, and it'll push back your sleep pressure. So hard training is for earlier on, and you can do gentle exercise later. So if you can, if you've got a really cognitively demanding day, you often see more REM sleep, but you've got to punctuate your day with what I call nano intermissions. So there's an accumulative buildup of stress hormones throughout the day, and you've got all these cluttered memories. And if you just stop and do like one round of resonant breathing in between phone calls or tasks, what you're doing is you're just resetting, recalibrating that stress level. And it's just very, very quick. It's like, it's the Trojan horse. You like a little nano intermission, and then you realise, I actually feel kind of much more centred and settled. And then you're more likely to do sort of longer things like, 20 minutes of meditation. But try to punctuate your day if you can. If you can, try and see green. We know that green drops your cortisol. If you can, the greatest biohack apparently, this is research out of Oxford, is if you can walk together with a friend with a shared goal, like getting coffee near green and near water. That's been shown to be a triple whammy in lowering your cortisol. So if you can walk somewhere with a person to do something together where you can see green, where you can see water. That just taps into your evolutionary primitive brain. If there's water, it means there's animals, food,
abundant.
Safety. That's why, like, green. Tracy has this. We can't even watch movies that are set in the desert, let alone go somewhere that
just gonna sit dry.
Anything that's dry or barren, like
I'm not interested.
No. Wow, interesting. Like lush green, abundance. Yeah. So if you can, try to eat your protein for lunch, not for dinner. Because if you have a big chunk of heavy meat before bed, your body will prioritise digesting that over deep, slow wave sleep. They compete. And because, you've got decomposing flesh in your stomach, it's like we need to get rid of that before deep sleep. So you won't actually have the same amount of deep sleep, even if you go to bed early.
Yes.
So push your big heavy protein to lunch, vegetarian at night. Definitely you've got to get natural daylight. So when you talk about your how susceptible you are to Alan, so what they found, there was a study, they looked at people who either had, they were working in offices and they either went outside and had sunlight or not, or they just were in the office. And then they looked at their melatonin production, which is a sleep hormone, later that night. And if they had sunlight during the day, they were less susceptible. So they produced more melatonin at night than the people who didn't see sunlight. So somehow sunlight is protective for Alan.
Yeah.
So
I was at the doctor the other day, and you go in and they're in these rooms that have no windows, and I'm like, how are you spending
miserable?
8 to 10 hours in that? So is that going to impact their sleep? Yeah, I thought so.
If you as a stress researcher, if you want to get an animal's cortisol, like a rat's cortisol up, you put it in a small confined space with no windows, and the cortisol will just spike. And then you're seeing sick people, and there's vicarious. You've got there's the chemo signaling. We're very, very susceptible to the micro droplets of volatile compounds that humans emit. We've got receptors in our skin and our paranasal sinuses. So if we're around sick, negative people, we catch it vicariously.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a big thing. So, be very wary of
I want people to hear that, because when I say to people, have your boundaries and, be aware of who's giving you energy and taking your energy, that shows that scientifically, they've proven they're impacting your physiology.
100%. Have you ever walked into a room and you've like, oh, I can
feel it
with a knife?
Yeah.
Or if someone says, you should meet John, they're really lovely. And then you're like, oh, he gives me the ick.
Yes.
There's something off about him. Yeah, listen to it. It's not woo-woo. It's like hardcore science. You are picking up on these volatile compounds, like little micro droplets that are giving you really important information.
I think you said that in the podcast with Mark Burris, and I was hearing that going, wow, that's fascinating that our body's picking up on so many things. And again, that's why we should listen to our intuition. That's why we should come back to our centre, because if you're so distracted in your day, you're not noticing those things that your body's telling you.
Yeah, we're getting a whole lot of information that is really important for our not only survival, but, for happiness and our sleep, because cortisol is the greatest kryptonite to sleep. So you've got to really watch what is like giving you cortisol spikes. So just going back, so having protein, like trying to hydrate through the day, because especially if people are pregnant or if they have medical issues, the whole thing of having to get up and urinate through the night's a big deal. So there is a hack for that. So the speed at which you drink water determines the speed of which it comes out.
Oh.
Yeah, so you can have like a litre of water, but if you've sipped it very slowly, just tiny sips. Yeah. So there must be like receptors that pick up, and you're less likely to need to like get rid of it. But if you gulp, your brain thinks, I need to get rid of it. Wow. So it's also good if you're on a long haul flight or drive or something. Tiny sips will reduce the need to.
That's a good one because I'm a gulper.
Yeah,
and
I was
you're
too.
always in the toilet. Like if you go travelling with him, he's always wanting the toilet, and I'm like, why didn't
I'm always aware of where is the toilet.
Like,
it's a little bit annoying.
I'm like peanut butter as well. So just you've got to have sips. Yeah.
I actually need a wee right now.
Sorry, I just rhymed you. So, think about what else during the day. Yeah, I think you've got to move. So there's the sedentary depression hypothesis that, think about all of our, human history. If we were still, it meant there was something wrong. We were always moving. We're always doing something. Yeah. And so your brain thinks, okay, if you're sedentary, you must be sedentary for a very good reason. And so Mother Nature will say, well, you must be sick. And so it will make you withdraw from the clan so you don't infect people, and sleep, because sleep's the best antidote for being sick. And what does that look like? Withdrawing and sleeping a lot. Looks like depression.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of people who, just because they're so sedentary, their brains are thinking, there must be something wrong. You need to sleep it off and stay away from people.
Wow.
So if you can throughout the day, oscillate between standing and sitting if you can get a desk. And there was research out of University of Queensland that if you are engaged in high demand, deep thinking, you should be sitting. But if you're doing emails or phone calls or light work, you stand. So sort of oscillate between, because inside our bones, we've got these osteocalcin, these cells that produce this hormone that is really helpful for your memory. It's really helpful for blood glucose regulation. So there's a whole lot of the systems which are predicated on how much weight you're putting on your long bones. This is research out of NASA. So the more you put on your long bones, the better that your whole metabolism will work. And also, if you've got pads on the bottom of your feet, receptors, and when it feels like you're hitting the bottom of these pads, you'll have, I think it's like 25% more oxygenated blood go to your prefrontal cortex.
Oh my gosh.
Which is also good for, cleaning, helping with the cleaning process.
Wow.
So walking, you've got to get your heart rate up at some stage to help with that, the bilge pump, and getting blood to your prefrontal cortex. But your body just needs to move.
Yeah.
It really, and in that, a lot of people get restless leg syndrome and they can't sleep because of that. They probably just have not moved.
Yeah,
their lymphatic system needs to move.
I think if I've had a lazy day, not that I let myself do it very often, but if I have, sometimes I'm not even really that tired at night. And I think it's because I haven't moved enough and used that energy in my body. Yeah. And my body's like, well, we've still got energy, not tired now.
And is it the harder you work, the better? Because I've found I've started going to the gym again this year and lifting weights. I haven't done that in a couple of years. and I find I sleep amazing on
Yeah.
a gym day. So
Yeah.
is it like the harder you work physically, the better your chances of having a good night's sleep?
I think there's an asymptote where like you go too far and then you could be going into, you know, bad sleep zone. But you've got to experiment with yourself. Like if I can't, the worst thing you can say is everyone should do this. Like you need to really have little mini experiments and work out what's best for your physiology. But definitely, like humans were always like doing hard stuff where our whole physiology is designed for this. And I think that what we see is people get tired but wired.
Yes.
And this brings me on to this theory I'm going to write a paper on called the brain rot. And it's the resource over allocation theory where, you know, as I said before, humans were always a little bit hungry. And so you imagine now we're going into bed with excess resources, excess blood glucose, and our brains have got this propensity to look for danger, think of all the things that can go wrong. If you've got extra resources, your brain's going to put that to use doing what it knows what to do best, which is think about the worst things that can happen to you. And so we know so many people will lie in bed and then all of a sudden their brains start.
Yeah.
And they're like, what about this? What about this? And you get this kind of monkey mind.
Yes, chatter.
Yeah, and it's literally because you've got extra resources, so your brain is going to do it. So if you do have one of those minds, the busy minds, I would try to go to bed a little bit hungry or just not having sugar in your system.
Right. Because I'm one of those people and I have been since I was a kid. And so back when I was a teenager, this shows how old I am, I would put talkback radio on and I would fall asleep to talkback radio. And then over the years, that switched to podcasts. And even to this day, I wanted to ask you about this. I have one of those Bluetooth headband earphone things, right? So I have that on and then I have an eye mask.
Yeah.
And I fall asleep listening to a podcast about soccer or something that
Is
I'm
innocuous.
interested enough to want to listen, but not that interested that it's going to capture my attention. And it works like a charm. I'll fall asleep within 5 minutes. There's two things about that. One is like, is that the best way to fall asleep? And the second is, should I have a big Bluetooth thing right on my forehead, which doesn't feel like a good thing to do. And I don't know if there's any science behind that yet.
There was one paper that came out looking at EMF and it was baby monitors, and they found it did affect REM sleep.
Yeah, right.
That's one paper. I mean, there's a lot of people say there's nothing to it. I don't know. I mean, the danger is that what happens if for one night you can't find your things and
which has happened.
Sleep.
Or sometimes I forget to charge it, right? And then I have this little panic where I'm I've got no
your own
headphones.
thoughts.
What am I going to do?
God, not them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think, a lot of people ask me, like, is it okay that I fall asleep to old sitcoms or, you know, something familiar, something that's not emotionally evoking, something sort of nostalgic? And it's okay, but remember I told you about those brain bounces, the sleep spindles, K complexes?
Yeah.
If you're listening to like old sitcoms or something that's got variation in the noise, your brain will like be like, is that a
Thank you.
is that a thing?
You know what he's just realised then?
Yeah.
Seinfeld.
He
There
used to do the nostalgic Seinfeld, and I said, I cannot have you play that one because of the ding, 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 ding when he changes scenes.
Yep.
It used to wake me up.
Yeah,
So I would be drifting off while he's listening to that, and I said, you can't. You need to put on something that's more monotone or
white
not
noise,
evoking.
pink noise. Because it's a micro arousal, but you will not have as quality sleep.
Thank you, Gemma.
If you
There
have
you
a
go,
variation
Yvette,
in sound.
We had discussions about this.
Yeah.
You've just validated me, Gemma.
Sisters looking out for each other.
I also wanted to ask, we talked about this on the podcast previously. When we were going to do psychedelics one day, we wanted to watch a movie about psychedelics, and it was called Dosed. And the lady on there, she was going through the treatment, so the psychedelic treatment, but later on in her journey, she ended up getting a different kind of cancer, and she was living in Canada at the time, and she got told that if she took massive doses of marijuana, then it would help with, you know, her tumour and her whatever. So they had these, I think she might have been on 100
It
milligrams.
was oil, right?
Yeah, it
so
was
she's
oil.
not smoking it. She's
Was
Yeah.
it THC or
Well,
CBD?
I think originally it was THC.
It was massive.
But it was like
THC.
1,000 milligrams. It was massive. And so she was sleeping, I think, 18 hours a day. And then the 6 hours that she was awake, she was like a mess. So they then switched the daytime ones, or when she was awake, to CBD. But then the nighttime, or whenever she was sleeping, it was THC. So after about 4 months, they tested her, and her tumours and things had all reduced. So it got us thinking, is that the sleep? Is that the body being able to repair and to be able to do all these things that the marijuana
It's probably
supported?
probably what she wasn't doing.
Yeah.
So when she was out, she wasn't stressing, she wasn't producing cortisol, and then her body could do the things that she was supposed to do.
Wow.
Yeah.
It was
Like,
fascinating to watch.
It was fascinating because we were so surprised that we were like, how's her sleeping so much being the cure? Like in terms of she wasn't doing anything else at that time apart from the marijuana.
I know that THC does fracture at high dose REM sleep.
Mm-hmm.
I think
it fractures it because I have a prescription. I have
is it
THC,
CBD
well,
or a combination?
THC. Yeah.
Yeah,
so
interesting.
I have the CBD gummies as well.
Yeah.
But I have a small amount of the oil.
Yeah.
Which is I think 20 to 1 THC to CBD. I found it's amazing for sleep. For me personally.
Yeah.
Now I don't wear a wearable, so
You should
and that's
check-
a
you
chat we'll have before we wrap up.
Yeah.
But I found, because I used to be one of those people, I'd wake at 1 a.m, not 3.
Okay.
So I'd go 10 till 1 and
Yeah.
I'd fall asleep real fast. It was great. But then I'd be up at 1 and then boom, my mind is switched on. I would try the podcast trick. Wouldn't work. I'd end up listening to a podcast for an hour and still be awake. And then I'll just try and drift off. And eventually it'd take maybe 90 minutes.
Yeah.
And I'd fall back asleep all the way through till say 6 or 7 in the morning. And that was just a regular thing. Once I started taking the THC oil, it helped with that transition. I would maybe still wake at 1, but I could just get back to sleep straight away.
You might have been just a natural, like one of those essential sleepers. Did you read about the welcome practice?
I can't remember the welcome practice bit.
So basically, like as I said, our ancestors probably thought it was weird that we slept,
all the way
through. So you might be having these, like these old genes. Like apparently, it was like more common in the northern hemisphere. Because when people would go to sleep, then the fires would die down and actually their temperature would drop, and they'd get up and they'd stoke the fire, or they'd have to do tasks that had low light, because light was really expensive back then. Candles were incredibly expensive. Yeah. So they would do low light tasks and then sort of warm up and then go back to sleep again. Oh. So you might just have those Northern European genes.
Yeah, well, that's where I'm from.
Yeah. And so what I would, in the book, I talk about the welcome practice. So people get really anxious. So
I do remember
that.
Yeah,
people get not only sleep deprivation, but sleep deprivation anxiety is like a double whammy.
You did a case study about, you mentioned, you did a story about somebody, a lady.
Yeah. So like this woman I worked with, and she would just be absolutely anxious because she would do, at least 90 minutes going, go to sleep, produce more cortisol. So then I said, why don't you just welcome this moment? Just like the world is completely quiet. No one's hassling you. This is your time. Journal, get a really nice leather-bound, heavy paper, nice pen, book, and and just write just nice stuff. And by actually welcoming this time and not getting stressed about it, you aren't producing the cortisol, and you actually just go to sleep quicker. Yeah. And so she eventually was like 2 hours to 90 minutes, then to 15, and then she actually was sleeping through, but she kind of missed it because it was such a precious, mystical time for her to just be thinking about all lovely stuff. So I think the less you stress about you being asleep, not being asleep, is better, but it's hard to do, right?
Hard, yeah.
So if you do have a busy mind, I really recommend the cognitive shuffling. Have you tried that one? I do it all the time because I've got a really crazy busy mind. I get excited about stuff and I'm like, I'm going to do this and this. And it's not like stress worry, but like it's like stress, happy stress. Mm-hmm. So I would think of a word like slumber, and I think of all the non-related words that start with S. So shoe, sand, situation, silver. Yeah. And then when I can't think of any more, I exhaust that. I kind of picture them as well. Yeah. Then go on to L. And then when I can't think of any more L words, I go on to U. And then I've never gotten to R.
Oh, wow. Perfect.
Not once.
Yeah.
Not once.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. That's a great technique.
Yeah, I did read that in there as well. Yeah. I've never tried it. Yeah. Oh, that's a good one.
Or you can do lots of stuff but it's got you can't emotionally evoke you, like, or you think of all the fruit that starts with A, or all the
Yeah.
cars that start with.
Tracy does that with the kids too when they're
Or just distract
when
them
they're
when they're
angry.
anxious or annoyed or something. I'll do.
Yeah.
I call it the alphabet game.
Yeah, it's
and
great.
just go through it. And they love it. Like you do it to one kid, and one kid come running from the other side of the house, and you're like, no, I'm just trying to calm this kid down. Like it's not a game.
Yeah.
Let's. We got up to dinner time.
Yes.
I want to finish what should we do after dinner?
Yeah.
Make sure we have a good night's sleep.
Vegetarian dinner.
Yes. Gentle exercise. So you can do gentle walks, breathing, stretching, swimming, nothing high emotionally evoking, high temperature, getting your cortisol up. And so it's really good to have. So you've counted 16 hours since your first light exposure, and that'll be your go to sleep time. So you've kind of got to work back from there. So for a start, you go 16 hours, then you minus 6 hours. That's your last caffeine. So a lot of people, about half the population, are really sensitive to caffeine. So if you're pregnant, take the pill, have got a liver disorder, you should really be avoiding coffee after at least 12, 3 o'clock for some people. But definitely, if you have, 4 cups of coffee, you've still got a significant amount of caffeine in your bloodstream at 2 a.m.
Yeah.
And people say, I can drink 5 cups and it doesn't bother me at all. I'm like, that is not true. We know now because we have sleep detectors, wearables, and these people have a lot of micro arousals and they don't know. So they actually don't sleep really solidly. They just don't realise it.
Yeah.
My dad was that. I don't know if you're him, because they say it as a brag. Like,
Yeah.
I can have coffee at 10 o'clock at night and go straight to sleep.
You're exhausted.
I slept with you in that motel room that time, and he has sleep apnea.
The worst, yeah.
Constantly not breathing.
Yeah.
Because, the caffeine sits on those receptors of adenosine, and adenosine is a sleepy potion. So it's just blocking natural sleepiness. And then so when the caffeine wears off, you're even more exhausted and anxious because those receptors will get filled by that adenosine.
Gosh.
That stuff doesn't go anywhere unless you have a deep slow wave sleep and then process it back into ATP.
Gosh.
So really restrict the caffeine. And remember, it's in all sorts of things. If you've got any kids having energy drinks, have a really good hard talk to them. Those things are terrible. Taurine plus phenylalanine is a really nasty combination. I think it's been banned or restricted in 17 countries. It's anxiety in a can.
Gosh.
Yeah. So one can increase your blood pressure and your resting heart rate for 12 hours.
Oh my God.
Yeah, one can. So we did a very large sleep study at a global drinks manufacturing organisation. And so we put the Whoop devices on all the factory workers. And there was one guy, I looked at his data and I was like, oh my God, this guy hasn't slept for 2 weeks. And I was like, shit,
You could tell that from the data.
Yeah. I was like, this guy's going to die on my watch. This is bad.
So
bad.
he's still going to bed and not sleeping?
No,
or?
I found him. And I was like, hi, are you okay? He's like, yeah. I'm like, you haven't slept for 2 weeks. He goes, no, I have. I'm like, your heart rate is at 120 beats per minute all the time. I'm like, what are you doing? Because I don't know. And I worked out he was having 12 cans of mother a day.
12 is ridiculous.
Yeah. I don't know how he was still standing.
Wow.
That's a huge amount.
So since you were talking to him and working with him, did he change that?
I don't know. I hope so. We saw a 33% increase in sleep from when we did the study from just sleep education.
Oh, good.
Yeah. So these were people who, a lot of them, English wasn't their first language. A lot of them didn't have teeth.
Yeah.
It was like that, a lot of sort of marginalised, low socioeconomic people. And they were so appreciative that we were giving them this. We cared about it. So it was a really rewarding study to help people who just had no idea. I'm talking about sleep hygiene and, all these things. And they were just drinking Coke because it was free.
So how do you find when you do sort of start talking to people about sleep, do you feel like people lean in and get more interested, or they kind of think, oh God, so boring, or how do they respond?
It's really personal for people because when I start connecting the dots for them, they're like, oh my God.
It could probably be confronting.
Yeah.
We have one good friend, and I really hope she listens to this episode, who ever since we've known her, which is how many years now?
11, 12?
Yeah. has just
Doesn't sleep.
doesn't
She
sleep.
might have the gene.
Oh, she's always exhausted though, and
yeah.
so she doesn't sort of wake up. I mean, she seems like she copes, but I
She
think she runs off.
functions. She's pretty
she runs off
functional.
sugar and caffeine. So she's very, very slim, but she just
Yeah.
burns it all up. And I think she loves muffins, donuts,
Skinny
coffee. Yeah, she's skinny fat. Yeah, I always joke with her as well because she's always got so many things going on with her body. And as much as she looks phenomenal and she looks amazing, I'm always like, I wouldn't trade with you. Because I know all the problems that her body's got.
I mean, as I said, Mother Nature catches up.
Yeah.
Something
Yeah.
it'll give you, like, you can't defy the laws of physics. Like,
Yeah.
really, we're bags of bone, blood cells, and they need to do things.
Yeah.
It's just like I say in the book, like, would you run a car and not turn it off and then, go, this car is shit? No, you would. No, you'd be like, okay, I haven't actually turned the car off.
Yeah.
I haven't actually
Yes.
serviced it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I think people just go, oh my God, yeah, it really is significant.
What are some of the other sort of pre-sleep rituals to give us the best chance of having a good night's sleep?
Yeah, so you've got to be really careful about what goes into your eyeballs, not only light, but what you're watching. So this is really prototypical of busy parents, that the kids go to bed, you've done dinner, you've sort of cleaned up, and then you sit on the couch and you're like, this is just me time. This is just the time that I can do nothing. And, it's like fairy floss for the brain, just, watching some Netflix. And we know that people who run these Netflix, or the streamers, really hire behavioural scientists like me to keep you hooked. It's an attention economy. And so they have worked out a really good formulaic approach to getting you to stay up. And they know that the next show will just roll in before you can actually make a decision. It's called revenge bedtime procrastination.
Janelle spoke about this. ADHD people have it.
Yeah.
And I've also, just on this point, I've heard Netflix internally say their biggest competitor is sleep.
Yeah.
It's not another streaming
God.
service. It's sleep.
That's terrible, isn't
Yeah.
it?
Awful.
Yeah.
It's going to be like smoking when they found out that, streamers actually
Yeah.
cost society trillions in medical bills
Yep.
from not sleeping.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, and that you're on a cliffhanger, you've got the cortisol goes up, then you have some nostalgia, some oxytocin. So they've worked out what is the best formula for your brain to stay, attached.
Gosh.
And or if you're on your phone, like as I said, you can't actually see what's coming. But they've worked out your brain. They worked out your brain patterns, And if you actually are ever scrolling, look at what the rhythm is. So you'll see something that scares you. You'll see something that enrages you. You'll see something that makes you feel warm and fuzzy. You'll see something. I don't know what exact formula is, but they've worked it out for you. What is the most specific formula to get you to stay online?
Yeah.
And so what I see on my scroll feed will be different to what you do because my brain works slightly differently.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they've worked that combination of displaying that material will hold you more than something else.
Yes.
So that's
So-
what they say is there's no one algorithm.
No,
There's like a billion algorithms.
Yeah.
Because yours is totally different to mine.
totally contrived for your neural chemistry.
Yeah.
Yeah. Keep you engaged.
So actually, Matt, a Special Forces soldier, told me this. He's like, if you can't moderate your own behaviour when you're depleted at night, because you've lost your willpower, your impulse control. So if you're lying on the couch and you're like, oh, I know I should go to bed because I've got a big day and I'm already exhausted, but you can't, bring yourself to get up. He said, why don't you plug your modem into a timer? And so this timer will automatically just turn off the power to the modem at 9:30 and then put that modem in a cupboard behind a whole lot of cords at the back. And in order for you to get up to that cupboard, you need to get a chair, but make sure the closest chair is in another room. Yeah. And so what you're doing is you're creating space between impulse and action. And so if you're lying on the couch and the power goes off to the modem, so your streamers go down or your phone dies, don't have on mobile though, then you've got to get up and then you go, by the time you return on, they get the chair, drag it over, you're like, just go to bed, and your adult brain will kick in for you.
Yeah.
And so this is a way that you can have electronic nannies or try and build in space between impulse and action. You can do it with chocolate or wine. Have it not just immediately available.
Oh, Scott does this. He
I
comes
used
to
to
the
do
couch
that
with
with
one square, and I'm like, "What are you doing?"
Yeah, because you've got to
then
get
I have
up.
to get back up and get over there and go to the cupboard again.
So same
Yeah,
thing. Yep. He's
like
very
keep your
disciplined.
white wine in the cupboard. Don't have one in the fridge.
Oh, that's clever.
I don't know, or have something frozen so you have to
Yeah.
unfreeze it. So
Yeah.
just create sort of, space between you and that impulse.
Yep.
So on that note about eating before bed, so eating something in the morning is different to eating the same thing at night, because your insulin resistance or your ability to produce insulin changes at night. So you're not supposed to be eating at night. So all of your physiology is not geared up for it.
Yeah.
Your gut biome is geared for doing other things. And so you will, if you eat chocolate at night, you will actually put on more weight from that chocolate if you have it during the daytime. The best time to have chocolate is actually in the morning.
Wow.
And so late night snackers will invariably put on more weight, but they actually have worse food choices than people who are early risers. And so there's a lot of correlation between late night snacking, diabetes and weight, and sleep apnea. There's a strong correlation between inflammation from having sugary, weedy, snacky foods that have got food colourings and fake colourings and metabisulfates and preservatives will create inflammation, and you're more likely to have sleep apnea. So if you do have sleep apnea, try not to snack. And I think Whoop found that people who eat sugary snacks before bed sleep on average 26 minutes less than non-sugary snackers. And also it's thermogenic. So if you have heavy meat, your core body temperature raises. If you have lots of sugar, your resting heart rate raises. So everything sort of gets a little bit hotter. It's like putting more fuel in the fire. So you really should be sort of restricting food, to at least 3 hours. And in fact, my PhD and her PhD found on time restricted eating that if you have your last food when the sun goes down, all of your metrics improve exponentially.
Oh, wow.
She even found 3 p.m. was the best one, but who's going to do that, right? No,
Yeah,
no one. Yeah. So the more space between your, go to bed a little hungry even, and you will go to bed physically tired and a little bit hungry, like our ancestors, and you'll have a much better time of it. So also, if you've got, I talked about having a lux meter on your phone, a free app. Depending on the colour of your eyes and how old you are, will determine how susceptible you are to Allen. So if you are young, if you're like a 10-year-old is like 3 times more susceptible than a 45-year-old. If you've got blue eyes, you're more susceptible to light into your eyeballs, to a dark-eyed person or an older person. So if you can, in the lead up to bed, have low-level light, orange light, not overhead light. Yeah. And I have bought off the internet motion-activated strip lights. So I've got them underneath my bathroom sink. I've got them in the kitchen. I've got them all around the house. Yeah. So all of the overhead lights turned off at sort of 8 o'clock.
Yes.
And it's really nice actually because it gives this really nice mood.
Give a nice atmosphere, wouldn't it?
Yeah. And inside my actual bedroom, I've got a red light. So it's just off the internet. It's $30. Yeah. And what that does, it stops you getting this kind of recalibration of your circadian rhythm. Because if your brain detects bright lights, it thinks, hang on a minute, what's going on? Are you outside of your cave? Is that moonlight coming from above? And you'll produce adrenaline and cortisol. You get your second wind, especially if you've missed your sleep window.
Oh, I've had that happen to me many times where I'm like, I've missed my window and now I feel like I'm wide awake again.
Yeah, because your brain's like, I need to gear up because something is going to happen. So I really highly recommend having, a red light in your bedroom. Mm-hmm. I mean, your neighbours might think you've got a side gig.
business.
But particularly in the bathroom because you've got these bright lights.
Yeah.
But it's having a nice strip light. It's really, really lovely. So
it's a good idea.
And if you don't have that, is like an orange, like a warm light globe. Obviously better than a bright white one.
Yes, 100%. You've just got to really protect, your eyeballs in the lead up to bed. Mm-hmm.
Beautiful.
And, like what I was saying before, you've got, like that sleep window of when your sleep pressure naturally comes. Mm-hmm. And I see it like an express bus. Okay, that one bus comes, it's clean, it's fast, it goes straight down to deep, slow wave sleep. If you miss that bus, another bus will come, but that bus is going to be dirty, slow, 10 stops along the way, crowded. You may or may not get there. So just think of it like you've got your express bus, that's your personal, bus to deep sleep.
Yeah.
Get on it.
Yeah.
And that's why they always say go to sleep at the same time every night.
Yeah, so if you think about every single cell inside every cell in your body, there's a little tiny clock. And that clock needs to know, am I up ramping or down ramping? And I like to use the analogies, like imagine if you were running a cafe and the boss said, hey, everyone, we're opening on Tuesday, come into work. And they're like, what time? You're like, I don't know, when the doors open, I'll let you know. When the customers turn up.
Yeah.
You can't do that.
Yeah.
You can't do that to your cells. Yeah. You can't do that to your workers. Yeah. And you've got all these workers just go, okay, I'm just ready to go. Yeah. Just tell me when. So I often say if you can't get much sleep, at least get regular sleep. And so we did this study with the Arctic Army Warfare Group up in Alaska where we looked at sleep timing and we put them on the Whoops, and it was run by Whoop actually. And we saw that those soldiers who had a sleep schedule of roughly 15 to 20 minutes on average, they were going to sleep and wake up at the same time. They were more emotionally resilient and less homesick than those that didn't have regular sleep timing. And so if you can do anything, as I said before, that one thing is regular sleep. And the best way to do it is to anchor. If you're like naughty and you stay up and revenge bedtime procrastination, try and anchor your morning. No matter how late you've gone to bed, get up at 6.
That used to drive me crazy. We'd go to Bali a few years ago. We went with a big group of friends and we'd be out late and we'd whatever. And me and my other friend, we could not sleep past, 5:30, 6 o'clock because that was our regular time. And we'd be like, no, body, you can sleep in, you can catch up. But no, our bodies were like, dunk, we're awake.
Yeah, it's awful. No matter how much I've, drunk, how much late I've stayed up. Yeah. It's up.
Too routine.
So annoying.
Yeah.
But it works out for the best, right? Because then that night, you can go to sleep at your normal bedtime.
Yeah, and you really go with that natural sleep pressure.
So it's actually your body trying to take care of you in a way.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. So be very careful, about your sleeping environment. Yeah. And you talked about a mattress. So if you can have natural fibres on your body that doesn't trap heat. I used to have like really cool pajamas, but now I will only have cotton or silk, nothing else.
Yep. I've just started doing that with natural fibres and even bedding. I think one of my kids, I bought them sheets and I realised they were polyester. They didn't even go on the bed. I literally donated them immediately. I was like, they're not breathable. They're not good. Yeah.
So look out for when you see 1,000 thread count. Make sure it's like 100% cotton.
Yeah.
It's really worth like paying that extra money. They'll last longer and your sleep will be so much better. Mm-hmm. And be really careful, if you're using very scented washing powders because it can create inflammation in your nasal passages, which will make you snore or give you sleep apnea. You're irritating. Be really cognizant of mold and dust, things like that. You want to have your room cold, 15, 18 degrees, dark. If you hold your hand out in front of your face and you can still see your hand, that is not dark enough. So use eye masks. I always have 2 or 3 in the bed on my bedside somewhere because, you lose them in the night. Yeah. And you do that with little kids with their dummies.
I know. Yeah. I literally had that vision in my head. We used to do that with ours. From. Clever. Yeah. Oh, we could talk to you all day, literally. Gosh.
And we do have to wrap up. But can I just do some rapid fire?
Yes.
Because there's just some stuff that I'd love to know. So you can go as long as you want, but I'll try and make them
No,
quick.
She's got a 12 o'clock appointment.
Dogs in your bed.
Ooh,
you can be honest.
Depends on how much. Well, the data says it's not good because they're such little wrigglers. Mm-hmm. Yeah, but no, I would say no.
No?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Waking up with an alarm.
Well, if you go to bed at the same time every night, you don't need one.
No, you don't.
If you have to have an alarm, your sleep is not good.
Yeah, good. I'm blessed.
We're both saying that we both don't wake up to alarms ever.
I mean, if you've got to catch a plane, maybe, but otherwise, no, you don't need it. It's a good indicator that you've got your sleep, worked out.
Perfect. I got a few more. A lot of parents are giving their kids, what is it called?
Melatonin.
Melatonin.
bad. Unless it's been prescribed by a doctor. I know there's a lot of kids who are on the spectrum. It's good for them. But do not buy gummies off the internet. They are so unregulated.
I've heard that some of them didn't even have melatonin in them.
Some of them had 400 times the amount. Now, melatonin is a really, really important, hormone, and it has a whole lot of other purposes. We are messing with things we do not even know. Yes. And so if your body's getting it for free, your endogenous melatonin, you won't be producing as much.
So it's affecting
and
that.
And so I would not be playing with that stuff. Like you have a washout period as well, but just strictly talk to your doctor, but do not get it off the internet. Do not get it from America. Yeah. It's not good. And there's been kids turning up in hospitals in America with poison, and some kids have died because they look like lollies. They look like, treats. So be real, and not more is better. Melatonin is a sleep signaler. It doesn't make you sleepy. It just signals that this is time to go to sleep. So more can make you, very drowsy the next day.
Wow. I'm glad I asked. Yeah. And magnesium?
Yeah, really good. Magnesium glycinate, very good. Yep, lots of evidence for that.
Good.
Particularly in elderly,
and there's different quality of magnesium, isn't there? Because I get one off Amazon now because we went to a naturopath, and she was like, "Don't just go to the Chemist Warehouse." Like, I think it's not prescription grade, like a medical grade sort of one. Yeah. It's on Amazon. It's expensive, but practitioner grade. Yeah,
there's over 600 metabolic processes in your body that needs magnesium, and we're very depleted, particularly older people. So if you've got parents, get them magnesium tablets as a present.
Yeah, beautiful.
Last question, napping, is it good or bad?
Yes, napping is awesome, particularly for parents with little kids. Do not nap after 3 unless you're like sick or a toddler or a terrible hangover. Definitely napping there's a science to it. So you can't nap longer than 20 minutes because you might get woken up in deep, slow sleep, and you'll get sleep inertia, and you will feel absolutely terrible, and it can last for 3 hours. So if you nap 20 minutes or do the full 90-minute sleep cycle, and you can, it's very, very good for you. But if you're napping a lot, it could be a sign of an underlying metabolic disorder or something wrong, or your mental health disruption or something. So healthy napping is good, particularly if you've got little kids. Like, learn how to nap like a ninja, because if you look at sleep deprivation in young parents, it's one of the greatest predictors of relationship dissolution.
Yes.
And it's bad. Yeah,
I see a lot of those couples.
Actually, that was the one. I promise this is the last
live
one.
Live near grandparents. Sell them on eBay. Actually, I think in the book I talk about be like an army picket. Don't be like, you got more sleep than me. Like I think wearables for parents is really good, so you can actually see how much energetic output each parent's doing, particularly if someone's breastfeeding. Yeah. Like it is such a awful part of your life, the relationship.
We had
friction.
Friends when so this is 15 years ago. We all had kids together, and they would get up at the same time. So if the baby cried, they would both get up as like moral support. And we were going,
we'd already had a kid by that point. We were like, you're going to burn out really quick.
Fucking insane.
One of you should be sleeping.
I'm going in the other
pick
room.
It. Yeah, pick it.
One needs to take over in the morning so the other one can sleep. So you shouldn't be both up. Yeah.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are like, if I'm suffering, you've got to suffer.
Yeah.
It really, there's so many terrible ways that people act when kids come along.
Yeah.
And last one, you're a big advocate of wearables. You've mentioned Whoop a couple of times, aren't you? And that's because I always thought I'd be anxious about
orthosomnia. There's a word for it.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Is that what it is?
Yeah,
okay.
but people I had lots of athletes get it.
Yeah.
And they would get so anxious about seeing like a bad sleep score that it would actually throw them.
Yeah. Right.
So
but the reason you like it is because if you can measure it, you can test it.
Yeah, like it's hard to like move something you don't know where it is in the start. But I think just work out, are you getting that deep slow sleep? Are you getting REM sleep? And you can do it for 6 months, and then, I know exactly what gets me in the red and what doesn't, and it's just red wine. I'm not giving it up.
You have your garlic and you're right.
Yeah. Okay, I'm finished. That was amazing. You're so, what a
Thank
good
you.
episode. You're so knowledgeable.
Oh, thank you.
And
Yeah.
and the funny thing is about you, and this is just one of the things.
I know,
that you
we
can
could go
talk
into so
about.
many different areas. I wanted to talk about stress, but I was like, no, limit it because
Yeah.
there's too much stuff in the sleep. Yeah.
So if you ever come back to Perth, even
well,
when
I
you're
do.
famous, right? When you're famous,
Remember our dining
I
room
will
table?
remember. Yes.
Remember Lenny frightening you?
Yeah.
so
Delete that.
I highly, highly recommend this book. It is really, really good. It's called Sleep First, and by the time this episode comes out, it will be. It's not out today, is it?
It is.
Oh, it is out today.
I came into the airport and I've got to show a picture of my kids, like the proud, like, that's my mum's book.
Oh, that's adorable. Yeah,
That's
and
awesome.
for anyone that's listening to this, flick it over to a video because Jemma is beautiful. And so you should have a look at how gorgeous she is. And she's going to be on the Today Show. When are you doing that?
This Sunday.
That's so
fantastic.
exciting. Like,
Yeah.
That's
Oh,
what he's
good
saying.
luck.
You're going to be famous. So
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
thank you.
I feel like we got you just in time.
Maybe this is it. Maybe this is the
Gonna launch.
the launch pad.
Beautiful.
So, all right, amazing. Enjoy.
you
Good
so
luck with
much.
everything else
Thanks
that
for
you do,
having me.
and we'll be supporting you from the sidelines.
Thank you so much.
Awesome.
Appreciate
Perfect.
it.
Okay, well, we've just seen Jemma out. She had another meeting to get to, and then she's on the Today Show on the weekend.
Yeah.
It's exciting for her.
It's lucky that she had another thing that she had to get to because you would have hijacked her whole day and talked to her.
So would you.
That's true. She
I had
was
lots
very,
of questions about sleep, but once we hit pause on record, you then chatted to her for another 20 minutes about human design.
That's true. And then she also dropped in there at the end that she's actually worked with Wim Hof, who's one of the world leaders on cold immersion and breath and using breath to, I guess, help you in your life. And he's brought breathwork on the map a lot. So the fact that she's worked with him as well is just phenomenal. I'm like, I want to get her back on to talk about that.
Absolutely.
And stress. She was also, stress researcher. So all of those things, like she's a wealth of information. I was so impressed with her.
Make sure you connect with her on Instagram after we're done today. And
Yes.
we can become friends with her.
Yes. Yes. That's a good thing about our podcast. Like I meet people and I'm like, oh my God, you're just such an amazing human. I want to connect with you further.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm sure that whoever's listened to the end would have got something out of that.
Yes.
Anything that we want to talk about? Not really.
No.
We've got retreats. Go check them out.
Yeah. We've got one at the end of the year in October. We have a relationship retreat in November.
You can hear kids with school holidays. You can hear kids in the background.
Yes.
I'm not re-recording this. We're on school holidays. There's kids in our house.
They were very good for the recording of the podcast, but
Yes.
not so
Yeah.
much now.
Yeah, they're off the leash. Well, one of the things I do want to say is I know that people have started recommending the show to their friends, which has been amazing. So that's the best way that you can help us is to pick an episode and say, hey, I think you should listen to this one. Because if you just say, hey, listen to the Reconnect Self podcast, everyone will go, yeah, I'll definitely do that. And they never do.
Yeah, share a specific episode. That's usually the best way.
So thank you to everyone who's been doing that. If you can be bothered, hit the like button, subscribe if you haven't already, leave a comment. Starting to get a few comments on Spotify, which is really pleasing. Episodes that are resonating with people. So that's fantastic and makes us feel nice. And
keeps our motivation for producing this show strong.
Yeah, cool. All right, let's wrap it up. Good job today, babe.
You too.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.